Hi everyone, welcome to the Lifestyle is Medicine podcast. This is Daniel Cho with Pathways to Wholeness Lifestyle Medicine and the North York Lifestyle Medicine Clinic. Dr. Jennifer Purdy is a medical doctor who practices lifestyle medicine at Ottawa Lifestyle Medicine. She's in fact the only lifestyle medicine doctor in the capital of Canada. And in this episode, we'll be talking with her about her journey to becoming a lifestyle medicine doctor. So Dr. Purdy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
So for starters, can you share a little bit about yourself, how you became a medical doctor, and kind of what you're practicing right now?
Definitely. So I actually was in the military for over 23 years, and while I was in the military, I heard that they were sending people already in the Canadian Armed Forces back to medical school and residency. Before I joined the military, I did 2 years of nursing, and then I dropped out to join the military. And so I was already interested in healthcare. So when I heard that they were really short of doctors, I tried to get into medical school, and I applied for the program that the military offered. And so that's how I got my medical school degree and my family medicine residency, and I did both at University of Ottawa. And then I worked as a family doctor for almost 7 years in the military. And then in February, I retired from the military. And in May, I opened up my practice in lifestyle medicine because during my time in the military, I became aware of the link. First off, I became aware of the link between diet and chronic pain. And then, of course, when you hear about something about the link between diet and some issues, if you do any kind of digging, you hear more about the link between diet and other health issues. And eventually, I also heard about lifestyle medicine. And once I learned about lifestyle medicine and knew more, I was able to stay in the military for a little bit longer, but eventually it was calling me far too strongly for me to stay in the military, where I wasn't able to do lifestyle medicine. I need to retire and pursue this because I just think it's too important.
So that's really fascinating. Can you share with us a bit more about how you came to learn about lifestyle medicine? What was it about lifestyle medicine that sort of convinced you that this was kind of the way I want to practice medicine?
So I need to take one step back because I've heard first about the benefits of whole food plant-based. And then I finally, when I was posted to Petawawa, and I had a few patients with chronic pain. Not everybody was willing to try changing their diet, but I had one guy who had terrible back pain because of he'd been running and he'd got his foot stuck in a hole, caught in a hole, so he kind of twisted his ankle but wrenched his back while wearing a heavy backpack. He'd been on narcotics, he'd been on all kinds of different medications, physiotherapy, chiropractor, was still in terrible pain. And so even though he liked to kill or hunt small game and eat it, and he loved ice cream, he was so desperate, he was willing to try changing his diet and I said, I don't know how long this is going to take, but he was willing to change his diet. So he went on whole food plant-based, which was like healthy whole grains, vegetables, fruit, nuts and seeds, got rid of the animal products. At the time, I didn't know how important oil was, so I probably didn't say anything about that. But anyways, within 30 days, he felt fantastic. And so once I saw that, I knew that this was pretty powerful. Plus, I was hearing a lot more about all the success stories through Forks Over Knives and the other websites like that, Dr. Majigo's website as well. And then it was actually only probably in the last, I think, almost 2 years that I heard about lifestyle medicine. And I heard about it, I believe, because Dr. Ornish has been with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine for years, and so has Dr. Michael Greger as well, I believe. And so I think I was just looking at their bios, and I only heard about lifestyle medicine definitely no more than 2 years ago. And then I heard about an exam being written the first time, the board exam being offered for the first time last October. And I think it was only in June or July that I thought, wait a minute, if I'm thinking of getting out of the military and they have this board exam, I should really look into doing it. But so that's how I kind of came to know more about lifestyle medicine. But also it just made sense. And what I really liked about lifestyle medicine is in studying for the board exam, I learned a lot more about physical activity because as medical doctors, just like unfortunately most of us only learn you want people to eat healthy. Well, what does that mean? How do you translate that to for a patient? And the answer is most of us many of us, part of me, were not taught, and so therefore we may not know what to say other than follow the canned food guide. Same thing with exercise. How much is too much? What's the recommendation? Again, I did not get that information in medical school or residency, and to be fair, that's because doctors are not taught that. But to the studying for the lifestyle medicine exam, I was able to find out more about that, nicotine cessation, like to quit smoking, and like how to do it, to cut down on drinking, and medications that can be helpful for that. That was a real eye-opener for me. And then, of course, the importance of stress management.
Yeah, I was going to ask you also about sort of the training that you got as a medical doctor. And I've heard often that medical doctors get very little training in nutrition, exercise, and so from what I'm hearing from you, would you agree with that assessment as well?
Unfortunately, I would completely agree with that, and it's no fault of my instructors. If we don't know, we whether we're teaching medical students or whether we're talking with patients and educating patients, you can't talk about what you don't know about. So before I stumbled on all this, if I'd had, and I did have medical students rarely while I was in the military, sometimes shadowing me, I couldn't have talked to them about diet because all I knew, I got 3 hours on the canned food guide. Even at that time, way back in like 2005 to 2008, let's say, if I heard about it in second year through fourth year, it was already known, at least in certain circles, that the Canada Food Guide was highly biased, influenced by industry.
Right.
But it was still the only thing that we were taught. So there's a significant issue, and I think we're seeing also with obviously dietitians and in nursing schools as well across the country. The educational curriculum with regards to nutrition in particular must be severely reviewed, revised, but they also need to make sure that there's something put down, so that the doctor who happens to be teaching it, if they like keto, if they like high fat, low carb, like whatever, it must be evidence based,
right?
Right, because otherwise there could be harm if people go away from teaching Canada Food Guide, but then they teach whatever they've read about on some slick internet website or whatever, right? There's a real potential for harm about teaching the wrong ways of eating, whether it's for dietitians, nurses, and of course medical doctors as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about lifestyle medicine is that it is so evidence-based. It's rooted in the latest science on lifestyle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, definitely same here. That's one of the best parts is that I'm no longer trying to say, oh yeah, I think olive oil is healthy, and for any listeners, it is not. Because I used to, I do know at least once I mentioned when I was talking about diet for some strange reason when I was in Petawawa, but before I knew enough about this, I did say something about olive oil being healthy that was based on headlines I'd seen, and had I looked at the underlying research, I would not have said that, but I didn't know any better. So completely agreed. But the piece of it that's evidence based, and if I see something for something where there's no evidence, I'm always very cautious and very clear about telling them there is no evidence. But maybe we can try this anyways, because the great thing about this is that one way of eating for all kinds of different issues, people can usually feel better, even if there's no evidence for the condition at hand, like, for example, post-concussion syndrome, where there is no evidence of benefit. But there's no evidence of harm either, of course.
Right. So did you find it challenging to transition to practicing lifestyle medicine, given that in your training you received so little lifestyle counseling or training?
Yeah, I did find it challenging because the first thing, let's see, you can find books, reliable books, like Dr. Neil Barnard has some great books out there and available from many public libraries. I watch Forks Over Knives, but as a doctor, I probably shouldn't be basing my counseling with patients on Forks Over Knives.
Right.
But so I did find it challenging to transition to practicing it. In large part because first I had to get more confident with the subject material, and I ended up taking a certificate in plant-based nutrition that greatly increased my confidence. The other issue that I'm seeing now, one thing is that when I was in the military and I started to practice lifestyle medicine with patients, it was a little bit easier, and I'll be honest, it was because I was salaried, so I had the time to talk with patients. In my practice now, I'm very fortunate that thanks to the taxpayers of Canada, I have a pension for my time in the military, just because lifestyle medicine takes a long time, a lot of time with patients, and what I'd
Right.
say would probably be one of the biggest challenges for doctors of all types who are interested in doing lifestyle medicine is it takes time to talk with patients, explain things, education, and that sort of thing.
And how do your MD colleagues react when you talk to them about lifestyle medicine? Do you ever get sort of any kind of pushback?
Yes. um, some were. I definitely have some colleagues who are very supportive,
Amazing.
either because they've seen changes in themselves, either in patients or if they've had health issues and I've said, hey, you might want to, watch your oil and your animal product intake. They've seen benefits themselves. Some of them are seeing so much chronic pain, and they know that some of it must be due to environment, and usually our biggest interaction with environment is from diet. But there's a lot others who either don't talk about it, and I've had a couple people. Did talk once to two doctors who were military and may have had a higher rank, and one of them was following high fat, low carb, and the other one said, well, there's evidence for all kinds of different things. At which point I was tempted to say, well, if you look out the window, there's evidence that the earth is flat, but usually we get beyond that, right? So unfortunately, I'd suggest that usually we're fairly polite and collegial as doctors, and so if there's a
Right.
topic that we don't agree with, sometimes people just don't say anything, and I think that's what I'm running into. But there's others who I think are very curious, and some who are very supportive, and I'm starting to see more of them. So.
Do you believe, I know in America right now, that lifestyle medicine is growing really rapidly with things like the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Do you think that it would ever maybe go mainstream and standard within medicine in Canada as well?
I don't see how we cannot get there. I think it's going to. I would expect it's going to take at least another 15 to 20 years, because the problem is that we have all, like I was trained, like I said, as a normal medical doctor, I was trained that sure I could offer lifestyle interventions, but I didn't know what that meant to tell a patient to eat more healthy or to exercise more, get more sleep or whatever. I wasn't in the resource to give a patient appropriate tools, right, to help them actually achieve that. And then after that, I was supposed to start metformin for pre-diabetes or diabetes, hydrochlorothiazide for blood pressure, and that sort of thing. So we're going to need to see a change in the medical school curriculum, like I said, and with regards to nutrition. But then we're also going to have to see. Oh boy, it's huge. Huge system change is going to be required because
Right.
even the funding model here in Ontario, but across the country, it's the same thing. Like I said, lifestyle medicine takes time. So there's a
Right.
few systems barriers and challenges, but I do think everyone's saying that healthcare is unsustainable. Chronic health issues eats up about 67% of our national healthcare dollars. 67% goes towards chronic health issues, and the baby boomers, they have not. We're still not hitting the full brunt of Alzheimer's, and of course your blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. Cancer rates are going up. So I do honestly think that because there's going to be no alternative but to grudgingly accept lifestyle medicine, I think it's going to eventually become mainstream. And I hope probably in a few decades, it will be unacceptable, and it won't be meeting the standard of practice for doctors to at least not talk about informed consent and say, you could start this pill for your blood pressure, but it's not going to treat the underlying disease of heart disease, and your underlying heart disease will progress if I
Right.
just put you on a pill.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can change your lifestyle, and you can treat and most likely reverse any harm that's occurred because of your blood pressure, because of your underlying heart disease, whatever. So I think we're going to get there, but I'm trying to be optimistic, but it still may be like a decade or so.
Right. Right. Change is slow, oftentimes.
Change is slow, and when you think about the funding model right now for OHIP, it's for very quick. For seeing medical doctors, it's very quick. Unfortunately, shorter encounters, and it takes a lot less time to write a prescription. And most doctors don't feel comfortable with the subject material because they've never been exposed to it before, right? So change is slow because everything in the system right now, even if you look at the subsidies towards animal agriculture, everything is supporting the status quo. except for the fact that healthcare is becoming unsustainable. So, but we'll see. I'm optimistic, though.
Yes. Now, Dr. Purdy, you mentioned about reversal of disease, and I want to ask you about that. How I know typically in medicine, I think people are hesitant to talk about disease reversal, and usually the word they use is like management. But I know in lifestyle medicine, we say that it has the potential to reverse disease. How do your MD medical doctor colleagues react when you maybe talk to them about reversing disease?
Well, I guess so, because I don't talk to too many of my colleagues about this. And the interesting thing is, right now I've only gotten one referral from another family doctor, and it's probably because of the whole funding model, all the issues with that. But I think they're most likely a little bit more skeptical. It's unfortunate that I couldn't have Dr. Esselstein's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, in front of me when I'm talking to them, because then I could show them the angiogram evidence, right? So there may be some skepticism, but also they don't want to go and look at that book or go to Dr. Dean Ornish's his research paper that was published in 1990 in the Lancet, which was, I think, the first time that he demonstrated angiogram evidence reversal of atherosclerotic disease in his patients. I have to believe that that's going to change. I do know that some doctors are just wowed and completely on board when they actually see, like, papers are one thing, but when you see a patient improving before your eyes. So, I'm cautiously optimistic that a few of them are now starting to see it and buy in, but they still don't feel comfortable with the subject matter yet to be able to do it themselves that much.
And lastly, as a doctor, what would you say is the best part about practicing lifestyle medicine?
You get to see improvement. My encounters usually take about an hour, and I am tired at the end of the day. Right now, I'm only doing afternoons in this while my practice grows. But the best part is people feel better, and my goal, and I say this to patients, is that they won't have to see me much, and they won't have to see their doctor as and their care team as often going into the future. And I said I'm pretty sure I won't annoy any of my colleagues, just because most doctors are overworked anyways. But the best part, people feel better. They feel better. They save money on meds. They save time. They save money on groceries, and they actually feel better. And I'm dropping the risk for everything. It's lovely. Sorry, I could talk about this all day. Pardon me.
Yeah, can you and maybe to end off, maybe could you share maybe like one kind of success story you've had with a patient through lifestyle medicine?
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I had a patient who came in the last couple of weeks. Now, I'd seen this person, I believe, about 2 months ago, and she had some issues with weight, and otherwise she was actually doing pretty well, but a bit fatigued, overweight, not feeling her best. And so I was like, okay, let's see what we can help with weight. Oh, and she also, this was unintentional, but I picked an example of somebody who had actually tried keto. And she hadn't felt good on it. So she came in because I'm covered by OHIP, which is nice. Yes. And basically, told her about lifestyle medicine, what this could do for her, and I cannot remember off the top of my head if she was exercising, but I always encourage, of course, 150 minutes a week of moderate level exercise. Like, just walking outside is wonderful. Walking anywhere is wonderful. And her sleep was a bit disrupted as well, and but nothing significant. Nothing. I just talk about how to improve sleep is what I do for sleep most of the time. You don't need medications. And basically, she came in last week, and she said, yeah, I'm feeling kind of better. And I'm like, okay. And we keep talking. And then she said, oh, yeah, my bowel movements, I'm no longer constipated. And I didn't even know when she came in. She hadn't complained about it, but her constipation resolved. And then I'm like, well, how's your energy level? And she's like, well, oh my gosh. And she said, I didn't realize this until you asked me, but I've been cleaning up my house. I've been doing maintenance work. I've been painting. My husband's been wondering what I've been up to and why I've got so much energy. And she said, I wouldn't have realized I had so much more energy until you asked.
That's
and
amazing.
She's also having some weight loss as well. So she was very happy, but she also, the energy piece and feeling well is so important. Spending less time on the toilet, which of course decreases our risk for colon cancer and diverticulosis, diverticulitis. So yeah, I think that's one of I'm getting more success stories because I've been open since May. But that one, she was a high energy when she came in, which was wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing, and there's so many stories like hers where
yes, exactly.
people just apply the simple yet powerful principles of lifestyle medicine, they get better. So it's just really amazing.
Yeah. Basically, if we get out of the way with lifestyle medicine and line ourselves up for physical activity, sleep, diet, and not drinking too much, preferably not smoking at all, and some stress management. And Dr. Ornish would add just a feeling connected to people and love for others, love for ourselves.
Right. Then
we get out of the way, the body can heal itself. And I'm seeing that now in my practice. It's so inspiring.
For sure. So thank you, Dr. Purdy, so much for joining us today. How can people connect with you and learn more about Ottawa Lifestyle Medicine?
If ever they're interested, there's a website, ottawalifestylemedicine.ca. And on the website, there's a bunch of information, free resources that like books and that sort of thing that are often available for free on public libraries. And then, of course, there's a contact form, there's a phone number, and that kind of good stuff, okay?
Great. So for our listeners, we encourage you to check it out, especially if you're in the Ottawa area. And as always, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. We also share our episodes on our Facebook page, and YouTube, and our website. Just search for Pathways to Wholeness, Lifestyle Medicine. And if you do have a family or friend who you think could benefit from lifestyle medicine, please do share this podcast with them. So you've been listening to the Lifestyle is Medicine podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you'll join us next time.